Welcome to the No Ideas original podcast featuring Shannon, Mr. Rob, and Zain. We're back, number 100. How about that?
How about that? Hey, for that
Yo,
buck right there. So that was a buck right there, yo.
and welcome back to y'all. Rob came off the injured reserve list today.
I've been
Did
eating my vegetables.
stretches, he back, good to go. We got Z back. Zain, you're a little cloudy right now.
Cloudy as a mug. There we go.
You,
God damn, it's
you,
even
you're
worse.
looking like Candyman right now, bro. Candyman. Oh man, yo! So this is our 100th episode. You know, we put in a lot of work in a short period of time.
Let's digress a second on that. 100 show, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It all started with that idea in Walmart. I always go back to that, man.
Mm-hmm.
And yo, I got this podcast equipment. 10 shows later, Zayn was like, yo, y'all want to get some guests? Our first guest is Ron G.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah.
From that day forward, the trajectory just said,
Yeah.
son.
I would have never had thought in such a short period of time that we have spoken to so many people, so many profound guests, and had so many great discussions. And what I love most about what we're doing is we're doing it on the strength of integrity, right? You know, like you turn on YouTube right now, there's just like a lot of dudes that's on YouTube like beefing, you know, putting out false narratives, you know, tearing each other down and all that or whatever. And you know, we've been able to kind of stay out of that mix and stay in our own lane. And I feel like I knew we had something and that we had the right trajectory when I remember I think OC commented like on one of the posts or something like that and was like, yo, I rock with y'all. Like to have a dude like OC co-sign us was big for me, you know. And then the fact that we didn't been around the world in terms of like interviews with people. Like we went from the extreme of talking to Tragedy Gaddafi, a Queensbridge legend, to talking to Arash Malek about Scent Wedge and how he created masks during the height of COVID, you know, and then we had our own little internal discussions and debates too. Yeah. We had damn, what's bro's name from the Congo?
He had a different.
The dude that had the app, the what you call the app?
Yeah.
God damn, I can't. Yeah, B Perk.
B Perk, the B Perk app. So we just spoke to app developers, OKO Farms, rappers, DJs. It's ran the gamut. And then the other thing that I appreciate about this is that, you know, having you brothers to do it, you know, and
having me,
got Ken, Theo, and Kareem also collaborating and making this go. Like, yo, it's just been a dope, fun experience, you know, and I'm excited to come back together and get this banter going. You know, yo, give one of your favorite moments so far from the 100 episodes. Favorite moment, Z.
Sure, I would say the first one. I didn't appear on the first one, but I like how like Ron G. I mean, of course we had prior people on there like Rob's wife. We had several people prior, but to me, I think the Ron G was the one that, you know, because we all grew up on Ron G's music. You know what I'm saying? DJ, you know, legend and stuff like that. I mean, I don't really have a favorite, but the Ron G was the one I think has set the tone as far as for like celebs out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yo, one of my favorite joints was I always go back to I like the Garfield Bright joint.
That was a long, healthy talk. That's
yeah. We was building with him for like probably like 2 hours. 2 hours, and to go 2 hours and talk to this man about music for probably the last 10 minutes of it. It was just like a real dope discussion. And if y'all like the Ron G interview, wait till we put out the doo-wop interview.
Ha, picture face. Wow, how was that, man? How did that go?
Yo, doo-wop dropped a lot of gems. So you're gonna hear about doo-wop, how he got into DJing. You're gonna talk about he talks about how he got his record deal. He talks about why he never actually put the project out, how him and AZ linked up. He also talks about, and I'll say it here. I don't know if people know it, but I'll say it here and tease it, and then you gotta watch the interview. He talks about the Nas and AZ track for Do or Die 2 that didn't make Do or Die 2.
Damn shame.
So yeah, a lot of gems in that interview. Yo, you know what? The other thing I want to say too,
and that album is tight too, man. I'm feeling that album, man. That AZ album.
The other thing I want to say too, though, is that shout out to like the supporters that been riding with us. Like I got a lot of people that like whether they were colleagues of mine at one point in time, or they went to school with me, or of course family that that chime in and
shout out to our ghost watchers too, man. I found out another watchers out there too.
Okay, all right. Give suggestions, hit us up, and give feedback, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. Like the fact that you actually have people chiming in, supporting, and watching, is great, and I thank everybody for that. Rob, you want to say something else before we get into the actual topics?
Man, let me tell you something, man. This 100 episodes, man. We have talked to some very interesting people. One of my favorites was the Elder. Just being able to listen to something, give him a platform to kind of teach us something about ourselves that we didn't know. And of course, my wife was reigning the most likes for a while.
Mm-hmm. Nels was holding it down.
I think Nels has the overall, I think number 2, or if not the most watched, right? It's either 1 or 2 as far as views. Yeah.
It was, it wasn't so much the well-known guests. It was some of the grassroots ones.
Mm-hmm.
Even my man Kwame with the cannabis store down in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It was shows like that, or the show we did with Keisha Bush, my OG Derek Bell or Pieface, and Jamal. You know what I'm saying? And ever since then, there must have boosted energy happened because I'm following them 3 specifically, and all their respective entrepreneurial things are just shot off. Me.
Good.
Yo, son, it was amazing. It was amazing to watch what them guys is doing. Derek Bell, his son just got accepted to is playing at Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
He was training his son from early. Jamal is all over the planet with his business. I mean, so much has happened, man. So those connections, those interviews there, and of course, I enjoyed the General Steele. I enjoyed
that was a good one too.
The Mom Pinto.
Mm-hmm.
There's some good ones, man. Some real classic ones.
Catalog deep, boy.
Man, we got a nice catalog.
Oh, shout out to Arsonist too. Arsonist from Heatmakers.
Arsonist was a great show. All our shows is great. That's just hard, man. All 100 of them shits was hot.
So let's get right to it. KRS-One versus Big Daddy Kane, the aftermath. Rob, who won that versus and why?
Her infinite power helps oppress people. Come on, son. Bronx bread. KRS-One. And you know what? I'm saying that because I am biased. I am born and raised in the Bronx. But Big Daddy Kane was he was right there with me, man. And the joints he chose for that night, even a little freestyle he put, I was like, yeah, put Chris back on his heels a little bit. That's why Chris was like, fuck that fashion. I'm not doing fashion. I'm controlling the crowd, not you. It was a perfect night for hip hop. It's something, if you're a real hip hop fan, it's probably what you dreamed about and said to yourself, what if Kane battled KRS? We've been talking about him and Rakim for so long.
Yeah.
We kind of manifested that in a way it just stayed out there until it happened.
Yeah. Who do you have winning, Zain, and why?
Going into it, I thought it was gonna be a tie, like for the overall catalog of songs they would perform. Then I thought that Kane would have an edge because Kane has more of the ladies, like female fans and stuff like that. They bought a lot of his records. And but at the end of the day, man, it's like KRS got that boom bap. He has the stage performance. I believe he controlled the crowd better than Kane. There were times when Kane was spitting rapid fire. Like we all as fans know what he was saying, but the way it was coming out of his mouth, I was like, what the hell is he saying? Like he was going too quick. And I think that was more of, I guess, because of the pressure from KRS-One. He know that they both A-list artists, but he know that KRS-One is going to bring a lot of like showmanship and all that other stuff, and stage performance and freestyle and all that other stuff.
Yeah, man. He's like, fuck that fast shit. You're going to have my breath out here. I'm over 60.
Yo, it's ironic though, Z, that you would say like going into it, because going into it, I'm like, yo, I thought about it. I'm like, Kane versus KRS-One.
It's unfair.
Kane
2 albums.
Kane has a ton of albums, but Kane has records, I think, that like resonated on another level. And get where I'm going with this. Born and raised in the Bronx. Behind me, if you look behind me on the wall, that's the Criminal Minded album. So you know where my loyalty lies with this. But for me, I've always felt like KRS-One resonated with me because of my allegiance to the Bronx. And for some reason, I've always felt like that Kane, from a geographical standpoint, that a Warm It Up Kane, Smooth Operator, Ain't No Half Stepping or whatever. I always, for some reason, felt like that probably transcended further than just Brooklyn, than the boroughs. So I was like, yo, Kane lyricism, his personality and everything. I'm like, damn, like, yo, this could be a real tight battle. And I'm like, Kane may be able to pull it off. But when the battle actually started, a couple of songs in, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a long night for Kane. And the reason why I think it was a long night for Kane is because, so I'm gonna go, when you think about performance, what I saw in terms of performance, and Doo-Wop chimed in on this also. He was asking my opinion about it. Kane's performance was clean. His breath control Kane's breath control and his performance was clean. But because I think it was so clean, he probably didn't draw the audience in nearly as much as with KRS-One. Like KRS-One's showmanship, I think, was so over the top, engaging and for lack of a better word, loud, that to me it really resonated with me. And I say this about all these verses, that what people don't really realize is that what verses exposes that a lot of people don't really have 20 bangers. They don't really have 20 bangers. They have songs that we listen to like, oh, okay, all right, but because yo, this is gonna bug you out. I told Doo-Wop that. Doo-Wop was like, yo, he was like, wait a minute. He was like, yo, you're right. I said, yo, the average Big Daddy Kane fan can't name 20 records from Kane. I can name 20 records because, yo, I'm a hardcore Big Daddy Kane fan. Like, I know Big Daddy Kane from Long Live the Kane. It's a Big Daddy thing. The Prince of Darkness, Taste of Chocolate, Looks Like a Job for. Yo, Big Daddy Kane had a lot of albums. He put out a lot of albums, but certain people were only locked in for a short period of time. So most of his records, yeah. So after a while, you start being like, okay, all right, there were some songs that Big Daddy Kane did that I was like, all right. There were some songs, honestly, also that Chris did that I was like, it wasn't my favorite joint or whatever, but it was very apparent that KRS-One catalog is a lot more extensive than Big Daddy Kane.
KRS-One didn't have to do 9mm. He had to.
And then you know what hit? So like I said, I went into the night thinking that Big Daddy Kane may be able to edge it on personality. And I ended the night with that KRS-One, I think, edged it on personality. The irony of it.
KRS-One has more showmanship. Mm-hmm. He knows what it is to get the crowd and crowd participation right off the gate.
But yo, he got a lot of feedback.
Once you hear that, let me hear you say "ho" right there. Your brain goes hip hop, and once you get it on beat and timely like that, and that's the same thing Jadakiss did. New York. Let me get your attention, son.
I think there's a faction of people that appreciate crowd participation. I think there's a faction of people who like, I'm not here for it. Perform your record. Yeah. Perform your record. So it's like hit or miss, like depending on the crowd. If you get a crowd that comes in and the crowd is like, yo, I wanna be integrated into the show, they're gonna rock with it. But then there are other people that they just like, yo, I just want to chill. I paid for the ticket or whatever. I want to see you perform. And I seen like some of the backlash that Chris got was that, yo, all right, so why are you doing this, performing a little bit and then holding out the mic and this, that, or whatever. Like Big Daddy Kane, to me, like Breath Control and all that stuff was better than KRS-One. But again, I think KRS-One energy to me just, it was like, yo, he was like a supernova that night.
Yo, listen, man, KRS-One, Sound of the Police, I'm still number one. He has songs where his true fans, they know each and every word.
Mm-hmm.
He's that much of a phenom and an effect when it comes to hip hop, and he knew that. You have to know that, and not only that, he's a Leo. Leos have energy like that.
I'm gonna go through the
Barack Obama is a Leo.
Yo, I'm gonna go through
on stage. It's a wrap.
Through the track list real quick, and we're not, we don't have to go like one by one.
No,
but just the how you call it, So you got Criminal Minded versus Just Rhyming with the Biz. Just Rhyming with the Biz was a great song, but again, Criminal Minded is criminal minded. Criminal Minded is criminal minded. I'm still number one versus Enough Respect with Big Daddy Kane.
Right.
I don't even know the lyrics to Enough Respect for Big Daddy Kane. I know the song, but I don't know the lyrics. So I was like, all right, why is he?
Yeah, I can hear it, but I'm like, damn, do I even know those?
KRS-One, MCs act like they don't know. Big Daddy Kane, Young, Gifted, and Black. Young, Gifted, and Black, crazy record. KRS-One, the MC. Then he did Out of Here also.
He did Out of Here part of that, yeah.
Big Daddy Kane did Lean on Me. Right. KRS-One, Jack of Spades. Big Daddy Kane Set It Off. Undeniable hit record.
Yeah. Young, Gifted, and Black too. You seen Chris' face when he heard that Farrakhan, he was like,
that's classic record. My Philosophy. Then Kane performed Mortal Kombat off the Big Daddy Thing. It's a Big Daddy Thing album, which to me was an okay record, but that wasn't, Super Ho, Boogie Down Productions, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Big Daddy Kane, I was a little confused with this. He did I Get the Job Done. Not that was a bad song, but to me that was like, that I always felt like that was that Big Daddy Kane was trying to do, something pop with Teddy Riley because Teddy Riley was hot.
Right.
Part-Time Suckers versus Pimpin' Ain't Easy. Pimpin' Ain't Easy, classic record with Nice and Smooth, and then Nice and Smooth then did Quick, of course. Then you got Black Cop, Shoot to Kill and Take It Easy. And I think that this was a good idea by Kane. Afterwards, Kane came with Raw. Another classic record.
Let me throw one back at you real quick.
So again, like not to go through all of them, but just
Kane did that freestyle. He did that 120 beat per second joint, scratch through that. I was like, ooh, Kane about to rip this apart. And what I love about Kane, and I'm glad you said that, Kane's style has transcended. If you look at Kane, you hear Black Thought.
Yeah.
Anybody whose wordplay is so timely and just you can hear every word.
Yeah. I have to say though, I think to me like the low part of the battle was watching DJ Scratch attempt to argue with Kid Capri or whatever. I was just like, yo, what
I was gonna ask y'all that. Why was y'all trying to bully Kid Capri, son? Yo, son, that was whack, yo.
Yo, you know what's the craziest part though? Did you see when he had to sneak out? He had already did his Jason bid with the Friday the 13th. I'm gonna play
Everybody
Jason.
knows that Jason move, right?
Yo, then there was another joint where Kane was like, nah, chill. Like he literally had his sneak out on a turntable where I guess he was about to. I'm like, yo, what are we gonna watch Big Daddy Kane versus KRS-One, or are we gonna watch DJ Scratch versus Kid Capri? After Kid Capri already was like, nah, just go ahead, do whatever it is you're gonna do.
Yo, parties, B. I don't battle nobody.
Yo, I hate this because they always say at the verses. This is the tagline of the verses. Oh, hip hop won. I personally feel like verses is just that. Verses. This person versus that person. My winner for that particular battle, I'm gonna go with KRS-One. But I will say, as much as I hate hip hop, the hip hop one thing, I do feel like hip hop won in the sense that for young cats that had an opportunity to tune in to get exposure to that magnitude of music, to that level of that quality of music, was just to me like that was like class was in session.
Because the young kids they didn't know what songs were. They didn't crowd participation. Be a part of the show. Ain't nowhere in the world they knew the words of them songs, man.
Yeah. While we sticking with the theme of participation, man, did you brothers happen to see that the train riders in Philly recorded a woman being raped and absolutely did nothing? Whew. Oh my God. Yo, what do you, Zain? What do you think about this?
I think every person out there, male or female, that got to witness that and had their uh, uh, mobile device up, just filming it or taking pictures, whatever, cowards. You know what I'm saying? Like that could have been they gotta look on the other side of the fence. That could have been their sister, their mom, their aunt, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that it just shows like where the world is right now, man. Like everybody want to put stuff on social media and be the first or whatever. Um, you got all these like men out there supposed to be tough guys or whatever, but they only tough guys when it's upon their convenience. Like why they didn't go in and intervene. You know what I'm saying? Nah, being for real, like yo, they said it went what the dude, it was like she was getting harassed for like 40 minutes. They went they passed 24 stops, yo. 24 stops. 27 stops. It's a shame, man.
That's crazy.
What do you say, Rob?
It's crazy that's happening in this. Yo, bro. My thing is, I'm almost compelled to think that the onlookers were sitting there enjoying the shit.
If you looking and watching it for that long,
was it that graphic that you had to stand there and pull out your fucking phone? And this lady is probably telling this nigga to get off of her.
Yeah.
And nobody do nothing, not even call the cops.
Yeah. Sad.
Isn't this indicative though of what we currently experiencing in society? Like the whole desire to go viral or to be first, you know, or to get some likes and stuff like that. Like people get so caught up in videotaping people get so caught up in videotaping that they forget that, you know, that you actually have to put the camera down and engage and intervene. As far as I'm concerned, everybody that was there, they complicit. They were you were in on it. You allowed this to transpire to this woman with essentially an audience. We talking about verses that, yo, you know how many people probably witnessed that? Just literally
long 27 stops are?
So
at least for 30 minutes. So 30 minutes watching that.
So here's my thing. When you guys were out, me and Ken, we did an episode, and I was talking about the
6 Man of the Year Award.
When social media, I think Instagram went down, WhatsApp and all that stuff, and Facebook. I don't know if Facebook went down, but I think it may have went down. But yo, that was the opportunity for people to unplug, and we need people to be present. Like something has transpired with us now that people struggle with being present. Like, yo, I go to a lot of concerts, and at the concerts, instead of people actually enjoying the show, they spend most of the time recording the show. Like to me, I'll record maybe like a snippet or something like that. But if I pay my money for tickets, I'm not gonna sit there and record the whole.
Participate.
Yeah, you know, you like. There's something missing when we as a society, we don't want to be present, especially present in the sense that we think it's of much more value to videotape somebody being victimized than to actually insert ourselves and be an intervention. And you look at like, thank God, and I don't want to say that it's wrong to videotape things because thank God they had the video footage for George Floyd, right? Thank God we got an opportunity to see that video footage, but it has to go beyond just, okay, I want to video record somebody in the act of a crime doing something, you know, because you will want your loved one to intervene.
Listen, man, I know that shit can happen on a tour of the 5 train. Somebody would have did something. Someone would at least call the fucking cops. There's many people that ride the train. So I don't know the demographics of Philly or what areas the train's running in, but come on, man. Someone is getting society has created a narrative for everyone to be cowards, but didn't have all the might and the gall to pull out their phone and videotape something. Like, where do we get this type of mentality? People are totally desensitized.
Of course, yeah. That's exactly what it is. That's what I said. There's more.
Ron Festo here, he talked about what's the guy named that made him sit there and breathe for 60 seconds? Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers, yeah.
Like you said, when the IG went down, that was people's chance to decompress. People were still opening up their phones. It ain't on yet. It ain't on. Don't put it down. I said, yo, that's one of the reasons. And I'm glad you asked this question. And before we started, what changed or how things changed for me. You see, I picked up my Legos.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be out there doing some mental calisthenics, man, for yourself, and retune yourself and leave the outside world alone. Start focusing on your inner thoughts, yourself.
Yeah.
Help. Know what's going on with you mentally, man. Because stuff like that. The gentleman that did the act. Where was his brain at thinking you could do that in the street?
Well,
you know what's crazy about it though, fellas? The dude had the nerve. He had the audacity, whether true or false. He said that he know the lady, allegedly know the lady, but he forgot her name. So what? And then he said it was consensual. I'm like, come on, yo.
Right, yo, okay. Yo, you know something? We become a society of observation first, and then if forced to, then participation, and then maybe if we're lucky, if we're lucky, somebody will, there'll be some intervention. I'm looking at this also.
People are still getting snatched today, man.
Yo,
people are out here still kidney and lung harvesting.
Yeah.
You gotta be on your P's and Q's, man.
Yo,
every time I tell the girls when they go out, keep your head on a swivel. I know you with your friends, you kikiing. Every now and then, put your back to the wall and just look right and left, and watch out for people, man.
Yo, you know what?
You know what I have a real big concern about, because they said it happened this just outside of Philadelphia, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
So where was security? Where was, like, who's behind the cameras? Like, where's the police? Like, what are they short staffed for 27 stops? Because normally anywhere in major cities where there's high crime, it's going to be police or security somewhere.
The person who made the call to the police worked for their NTA service. He was off duty, and he must have just to him must have seemed weird. He's the one that called the police. But when the police got to him at the 27th stop, homeboy was still in the act. He was still trying to do his. They had to pull homeboy off of homegirl.
Yo, do you think
that's a big lawsuit coming for her? She's gonna have a big lawsuit against them.
Do you think this is a product of people now being fearful to provide intervention or to get involved for whatever the backlash is? Because let's be real. Let's be real. As people of color, a lot of times our approach to a lot of stuff is, I ain't see nothing. I'm minding my business, kind of thing or whatever. So has that type of mentality seeped into how we go about our day-to-day in society, where we see stuff and we're all complicit? Like, it don't involve me. I ain't got nothing to do with it. I ain't seen nothing.
And a lot of times, them situations could turn up you. That might not have been a decision you should have made. You should have minded your business. Mm-hmm. I get it. I get all of that. But someone conscious can tell if someone is in distress, versus consensual. Whether this person wanted to be wild and crazy. Some people wild and crazy, they have sex in crazy places. You know what I'm saying? But if she wasn't, if you could tell someone consensually enough wanting to be involved with somebody. I mean, come on, man. That's not. I think that's just people being cowards and not wanting to. Not minding my business, but you pull out your phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I ain't gonna say nothing about it, but I'm gonna send this video and show people what's going on.
And later on, I'm gonna put it out on some dark web shit. Come on, son. People are crazy.
The crazy part about that is that they gave this guy his bail is set at 180 grand. They, like, situation like that, you're not supposed to get no damn bail. You know what I'm saying?
You heard what I said? You know they ain't putting that on the dark web. They putting on Instagram or Facebook so they can get the likes.
and that's where we're at.
Yo, but here's even more. This is even more sick about it. Even more sick. Yo, who are the people liking it? Who are the people liking it? Why does that warrant a like?
The sick. People are sick, man. People are sick, man, for real.
Oh, man. Yo, did y'all have opportunity to see The Closer on Netflix?
I watched some of it.
No, I heard about it.
I didn't catch all of it, but I think I caught enough of the gist of why we got this
Yeah. So even if it does a good point. So even if you haven't watched The Closer, you would have to have been under a rock to not hear about everything that's going on as it relates to Dave Chappelle and Netflix employees. So as a result of Dave Chappelle's routine, where he offered commentary and comedy about transgender individuals, several employees at Netflix were offended. In fact, that I think at one point they had a walkout.
Yep,
So now, following the walkout, the trans employees of Netflix and their allies have released a list of demands. What are your thoughts on this? You want to start, Rob?
My thought is, they some of their list they want Netflix to adopt measures in areas to monetize, or not monetize, but to correctively suggest what content they should invest in. And Netflix is a machine all in itself,
Mm-hmm.
and the owners and the creators of Netflix were put there to kind of make motherfuckers lazy. You can sit there and binge watch everything.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not concerned much about what content is on it. As long as it's brash enough to collect people and have people watch it over and over again, that's their motive. The whole thing, this transphobia thing. I'm here it is. I'm a black man.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta wear this skin everywhere I go,
Mm-hmm.
and I catch eyes. I catch people clutching purses. I've been through all of that. And the moment you say something about a certain individual, you get all this backlash, and I love everything that Chappelle said, man. You know what I mean? I love everything he said, because we can sit here and beef and complain and kill and maim one another, and no one's stepping for that. But the moment you have some sort of opinion about someone else, now you gotta ruin my life. How does that work? How does that even work, man?
Yo, let me run down the list of demands. So they want Netflix to eliminate references and imagery of Chappelle inside of the workplace, including but not limited to murals, posters, room names, and swag. They want acknowledgement that the special causes harms to the trans community and Netflix responsibility on it. So we keep the conversation around transphobia evolving internally. They want trans and non-binary content investment. They want an investment in trans or binary content on Netflix comparable to our total investment in transphobic content. They want comparable class of investments should include not limited to works produced by Dave Chappelle. They want an investment in multiple trans creators to make scripted and unscripted programs and genres. They want to revisit internal process on commissioning and or releasing potential harmful content. They want to hire transgender content executives in leading positions, recruit trans people for leadership roles in the company. And they want a disclaimer before the closer, specifically saying it contains transphobic language, misogyny, homophobia, and hate speech. And they want to boost promotion for disclosure and other trans affirming titles in the platform. Now, here's something I'll say about
how many a bullet listed that was like 13, 14?
Yeah, it was quite a few. Here's what I'll say about this before I get into specifics in terms of the whole thing. What I respect about them is we had, what was it, I feel like last summer, and just throughout the pandemic,
mm-hmm.
there was this huge uproar and discussion about Black Lives Matter. There were all these protests. We did all this protesting. We were all over the place. Everybody, we had all of this protest or whatever. And I remember us three sitting on this podcast several times and having these discussions. And I've always went back to now's the time. What do we want? We got to ask for what it is that we want. So regardless of whatever it is, if these demands are outlandish or not, what I respect about them is that they came up with a list of demands, right? So to go back to what you're saying, Rob, like as a person of color, we have these discussions all the time about whatever issues we have in the community and everything. We have we're starting to, I think leaders are starting to emerge, but even when leaders emerge, because we have our own set of infighting, we look at them a little like, I don't know how I feel about my son. I don't know how I feel about Tamika Mallory, because we want to know if they're profiting on it. And we get distracted from actually what it is that we want.
Right.
So it just comes across as, yo, you just fighting to be fighting. So I wouldn't be surprised there's 14 whatever bullets on this list. They may not get 14, but something on this list they're gonna get. And the reason why they're gonna get it is because they were specific about it. If you're specific and you tell people this is what I need or this is what I want to help me feel comfortable or progress or rectify whatever the situation is, it comes across better than just, yo, you're complaining. And I think that as people of color, we sort of have fell into this box that is easy for people to tuck us away and be like, yo, they just complaining to complain. They just complaining to complain or whatever, because we don't have tangible deliverables for them. And here it is that they have a list of stuff. Some of the stuff that we all look at and we be like, yeah, that's not gonna happen, or that's outlandish, or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, it's a list of demands. It's almost like as people of color, we want to hold white people, how you call it, hostage. We hold them hostage, and then they be like, the hostage negotiator comes in and be like, well, what do you want? And damn, we never got this far. You mean to tell me we could get something? Then that's when the infighting starts. But right now, it appears that they're in a position where they're trying to hold Netflix hostage. They're trying to hold Netflix hostage, and Netflix is probably saying them, either they're saying to or not. The hostage, the negotiators showed up, and Netflix, the allies and the transphobia people that's protesting are saying, well, guess what? To the negotiator, this is our list of demands. This is the stuff that we want. So that's a step right there. Yeah, Rob, you want to say something?
No, what I wanted to say was, trans, LBGQT, whatever your lifestyle is, that's exactly what it is. It's your lifestyle. You made that choice. And even for those who feel they were born that way, I'm all right with that too. But the moment someone has some, people get talked about every day.
Mm-hmm.
Black people get talked about the most every day. Every time people lay their eyes on us, they're already in their minds, have made up their mind on how they want to cross the street. They don't even want to walk by that person.
Mm-hmm.
Do they want to rent them that room? Do I want to serve them with politeness? Because I'm anticipating she looked like she angry, so she already got an attitude. I mean, we go through so many different stereotypes and all sorts of types, and there's no rallying cry for that. And I guess they want us to rally cry, but when we rally cry, we're just upset and we're mad. We're just looking for some handouts. I want no fucking handout. When I walk out my door, I want to be treated with respect. Period.
Yeah. Let me say, Rob, it's funny you said that, because I was thinking about it. Like, what I think as a black person,
they want respect too, and I get it. They deserve respect, but you canceling people's lives. What's crazy? I mean, let me just say this one point. You know what's crazy? There was a guy that went out there in that rally with a sign that says "I like Chappelle," and they snatched it out of his hand, broke it, handed him back the stick, and then screamed to authorities, "He has a weapon! He has a weapon!" I'm like, hold on, you just assaulted the man for his sign, destroyed his sign, handed it back to him with just a stick, and then they said he has a weapon. Like, what mind games are you playing?
You know what I was gonna say, what you're saying in terms of like what we want as what we want for as black people. We want human rights. We don't want to be killed. We don't want to be beat by the police. We don't want all these things. But look, check this out. Check this out.
Yeah.
If we ask for those things, first of all, for us to get those things, they would have to acknowledge that those things exist. Acknowledging that those things exist, the ramifications of that would be mind-blowing. Like, there are still people that walking around that don't think that racism exists.
Right.
So
Some people are still believing.
So when you start thinking about how these two, because it's not apples to apples comparison in terms of black people versus trans people or people that identify as LGBT.
They're a minority group, and we're looked at as a minority group, even though we are the majority.
So yes, it's different in terms of comparison. Like I watched The Closer, and there were funny moments in it. And then I acknowledged it, and I said this to Kenyatta too. I was like, yo, you know what I acknowledged about that? I watched it, I thought it was funny, and I laughed. And you know why I laughed? Because I was like, you know what? I wasn't the target of it. I'm like, yo, I was
clear, right? I'm unclear.
Yeah, I was like, yo, I wasn't the target of it. But then I said to myself, okay, if it was a white comedian up there making jokes about black people or me as a black man, would I feel similar to how they feel? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. So I'm saying I enjoyed it, but then I was like, yo, damn, like I'm kind of like an innocent bystander.
I cringe every time I hear, even in movies, I cringe when a white person says.
Yeah, but you know what? But for this particular instance, we're innocent bystanders. So I don't know with like my qualification in terms of the stuff, how qualified I am to speak. I can't speak to the pain that whatever this man was saying was evoked, because it was comedy. And I think that's the
right.
part.
What about free speech? What about
well, that's what I was gonna say. I think that's the part that I think that's kind of getting a little dicey when it comes to cancel culture, because the essence and the pure nature of comedy is to make fun of. But we all know making fun of is funny when you're not the target.
But of the joke.
Yeah, go ahead, Zain.
Well, you basically wrapped up everything I was going to say. But like in a nutshell, the last thing you said was that as far as for any legendary comedian has edgy material. You're not going to be a Richard Pryor, George Garland, or Jim Carrey, Ronnie. Look at Ronnie Dangerfield. All the stuff he was saying. No, I'm sorry. Not him. Andrew Dice Clay. Andrew Dice Clay. He was very edgy. So, but the crazy part about it is that why did it take this long for this stuff to happen? Because Andrew Dice Clay was talking about stuff like that back then, but back then they didn't have this group that we talking about. But they were still talking about. It was a segue. You know what I'm saying? Huh?
Tolerance, because now tolerance, education, society, the evolution of society, where people are, it's again like not to compare
on that. I believe this particular community is trying to change the narrative on how people view people. People view people based on how this country was already developed. This country was developed by individuals who looked at a certain other people and wanted to erase them off the fucking planet. That's the culture of America, and that's why there's so many divisions, because everybody wants to believe, yo, respect me. Come on, man. Let's just lay it out on the table. Give people that deserve respect and give it to them when they deserve it. That's it.
Yeah.
Pick
it for it. That shit is whack.
You know what I think too, though? I think ultimately a lot of people they scared to speak against it. Like, I mean, whatever somebody do to float the boat, whatever, but don't push that on. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because they have it to where it's going to be courses taught in elementary school and all that stuff. Like, come on, yo, but nobody speaks up against it because they afraid that they're going to get blackballed.
The whole race theory. You want to remove race theory,
critical race theory,
race, whatever you call it. So it doesn't harm white kids. The fuck?
Yeah, like I said, I was saying, I feel like that as a country, just in general, like society, I think that we've evolved, and I think that not everybody in the country evolves on the same level. Like, to me, I almost feel like minus the technology, back probably like in the 40s or 50s, there were probably three dudes sitting around having the same discussion as it relates to interracial relationships.
Yo,
You know, or having the same discussion, as it relates to, Jewish people or whatever it is. Like my position on this is, I take the stance of, because for once my demographic wasn't the butt of the joke or targeted. I don't know if I don't know if I feel qualified to tell those people how they should feel.
That's a valid point, bro.
How they feel about it. Because I'm telling you, I know for a fact, that if I turned on the TV today and Andrew Dice Clay was up there, N-word this dude, this, that, or whatever, oh, this, that, or whatever, yo, I'm not saying I'm gonna go boycott Netflix and lose my mind or whatever, but I damn sure I would be like, yo, I'm done with Andrew Dice Clay.
Right, and that's a choice that you made based on who you are, develop whatever it is. That's the choice that you made. Look, I'm leaving him alone. I still like Netflix.
Hey, Sean Rob, I'm glad that well, first Shy brought up the point where he said that, you know, we evolved and stuff like that. But look at what was happening with one of the best comedy series ever, In Living Color. Look at what Jim Carrey was doing when he had Elvira. Mm-hmm. That was the same damn thing. You know what I'm saying? But they wasn't pushing it. It was no backlash back then. But like you're saying, right now we're in a whole other different age right now.
But you know what? You know why you can't say that? Because there's not too. If you think about it, like look at all these comedians, and then I'm sure you guys have seen like the literature and the research on it. At some point in time, like mostly all of our favorite comedians found themselves in some kind of drag or something like that for comedic purposes. Yeah. You know, and I think that
Martin Lawrence.
Yeah, I think honestly, like part of comedy, like to me, comedy is
edgy.
Comedy is edgy, but comedy is underrated, and comedy doesn't get the credit it deserves. And doesn't when you're still talking about was genius because a great comedian.
Comedy exposes what's behind the veil. It tells the truth, but it allows you to laugh it off just a little bit, but it sticks with you like that shit is true.
A great comedian should be able to take an audience to a point where they feel like that they're on the edge and know how to say edgy things, but know how to say edgy things, also conveying it from a humorous manner. You get what I'm saying? Like, but I think there have been plenty of white comedians that have the ability to play on and use their comedic genius to have these conversations. Like if you look at a dude like Gary Owens, so Gary Owens is not a great all-time comedian, but he's a white comedian that I think at one point he was married to a black woman, and he talks about black things and stuff like that, but he talks about it in a manner where black people are like, okay, you're talking about black things that's going on, but you're not saying stuff that's gonna be that I feel is malicious or impactful and threatening. And again, being that I'm not transgender and I don't associate in the transgender community, I don't know what the impact of the stuff that he said. It's really, to me, it's no different than like if you get a dude that come on and they start making anti-Semite jokes or whatever, and you look or whatever, you sit and you look and you may chuckle at it or whatever. But if your boy is Jewish, you're Jewish will probably look and be like, yo, what the hell? He just said, what about this, that, or whatever. Yeah. So it's like, like when you think about it in that context, to me, it's like, oh, okay, I can see why people would be upset about it. Does it warrant them canceling him? Do they want him? I don't know, because I think at the end of the day, what they're using him as is a stepping stone to, because we always talk about this stuff about agenda or whatever. What they're using Dave Chappelle to me as a stepping stone to is to integrate more content that depicts trans and to put money behind it and this, that, or whatever. And hold on, Rob, let me say this. And if we were smart, just to bring it back over onto the race side, if we were smart, when we had America by the balls over George Floyd and all these other things, we should have been going to Channel 2, ABC, NBC. There's not a lot of sitcoms now on regular TV, but what is there, a handful of probably black shows, like, oh, they just threw us the remake of the Wonder Years. We should have been going to them networks saying, yo, we want more representation of black people in leadership. We want more representation of black shows. We want more. We want this, that. But you know what we did? We went in the street. We picketed. We marched. We talked a whole bunch of shit. You know, we complained. And we got up the next week. We went out and we did it again. Week after that, we went and did it again. We mixed in a little bit of looting and rioting because we were, you know, we were disgusted.
Because that's what we do. That's what we do. We fed up. We go burn some shit down.
Mostly our own shit too.
And instead of having an intelligent conversation with some people, to let them.
I forgot. They met our demands when we got the flat screen TV. When we took the flat screen.
Yo, but this trans community is leveraging the popularity of Chappelle. They want to change the narrative and the outlook of society to be accepting of who they are. I've never had to accept or felt like I had to accept someone because of who they are. I mean, I have family members who are gay and that's their community. They go to the parades and all that. But I still know them as my aunt. I still know them as, you know what I'm saying? Friend of the, I've never been raised that way. And I've been around a lot of gay people, man. I looked at them as I look at myself, a regular person. What you do in your time and when you do it is your business. None of my business. That choice you made, you have to, whatever choice you made, you got to be accountable for the choice that you made. Whether the outcomes, whether good or bad, based on that choice, that's something that you have to deal with. I don't get the bashing anything.
Yeah.
I'm so righteous, man. I'm trying to stay righteous as possible.
So what do you believe? Like it's gonna be more of this LBGT stuff, like more shows that's gonna be introduced on Netflix or what?
I just think
that's why I think it's coming.
Now, there's always gonna be the Hatfields versus McCoys, Coca-Cola versus Pepsi. There's always gonna be one person against another for whatever purpose, and speaking gonna generate money and whatever content from it. And that's what's gonna happen, man. It's gonna be like that.
You know what I
practice from vaccinated and unvaccinated.
You know what I think that we do have to look at, because I do think that there will be more LGBT content.
Yeah.
And I think that also
go through TV now.
I think that if LGBT content is not for you on Netflix, you don't turn it on. You don't turn it on. I think there's also horror movies that you have no interest in, comedy movies. There's so many. What I'm getting at is that there's so many different things on there that they could put whatever it is on there. If it's not for you, then it's just not for you. It's not, you don't watch it. But here's one of the things that I think that where there's a disconnect, that where we go awry with it, and it's not, and it doesn't become an accurate representation of, there's cognitive dissonance, right? So we could all sit and say, it doesn't have anything to do with me. Like if that's your lifestyle choice, that's what you choose to do, or this, that, or whatever. If that's our position, then we shouldn't be in an uproar about whatever it is that they're doing, right? If we saying that we don't care about it, I don't care if a person is gay or trans or whatever it is, then we can't get in an uproar about it. But if we say we don't care, but then we like, yo, why the hell these damn shows coming on? Why this going on and this, that? That's cognitive dissonance. That's not consistent with your message of you not caring. Because there's plenty of shit that we all don't care about, that we just don't indulge in or whatever. That's like saying, yo, how you call it? I don't like such and such. I don't like porn, but I'm gonna argue about it all day. you get what I'm saying? Like if you don't want to be bothered with it, you say like, you know what? I don't watch LGBT programming. I don't watch horror films. I don't watch this. I don't want whatever it is, and you just don't watch it. But it can't be. You can't say that I don't care what people do, and then offer commentary on it that's not consistent with that. That's why frankly, that's why a lot of, I think, LGBT people and trans people be like, yo, okay, we don't have no allies or whatever in this, for that reason, because the people who say that, you don't care or whatever, if you again, going back to complicit, if you complicit and you don't care, whatever, then you ain't going to have, shit really to say about it one way or another. You know, and I always be bugging on that people put so much time and energy. I'm like, yo, if you're not gay, why you care who gay is?
Right.
Like, why do you care who's gay if you're not gay? But people go
You know
out
what?
there.
You know what I don't. You know what I don't like. I don't like how they. Like I said before, I don't like how they. Having these different classes of that. The kids' minds are not even like developed to even know practically right or wrong and shit. They have these different shows. They have these different classes that's going to be taught in elementary. I think to me, I think that's wrong. But I mean,
Yeah,
but,
that's you know what, Zain. That I don't think is anything. I don't think it's anything wrong with you having that opinion. Like I think you entitled to your opinion. And like I said earlier, I feel like there probably was back in the 40s, three dudes sitting around having the same discussion and saying like, "Yo, you hear they talking about putting these coons in the same damn school as our kids? These coons gonna be drinking from the same water fountain as us? You mean to tell me these coons want to sit at the front of the bus? You mean to tell me that they're gonna be talking about in school this damn critical race theory stuff? You get where I'm going with this stuff or whatever? It's like, yo, it's and here's the other thing I think too, or whatever, like, yo, whatever's on TV, whatever's in the music, and whatever it is, at the end of the day, there's so much stimulation and so much shit going on that the kids are exposed to or whatever. That's like saying, and I used to hate this with remember back in the day, C. Dolores Tucker, whenever violence popped up, shit, yo, it's the rap music that made these people catch a body. And I'm like, nah, man, it ain't that. It's a whole bunch of other stuff that's going on that made that person do that.
It played a major part though, and I'm a big rap and hip hop fan. But you're not gonna hear.
You think rap contributed to the demise? You think people were getting bodied because of rap?
It played its part. It played its part because you have a lot of people that don't know that it's just entertainment. A lot of these rappers that say they do this and that in records, they don't even do that, but it's entertainment. It goes back to even like how that little big story of whatever rapper who we don't know who it is, but the rapper said it was this big thing over in the West Coast with all the big corporate heads with the label, and they had this big meeting talking about the agenda in order to push gangster music. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to figure gangster music ties in with incarceration. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's a whole nother story. But I do believe rap plays a part. I'm not gonna say it plays the full part, but I don't say hip hop does. Rap does, because rap and hip hop is two different things.
Yo, I was on
gangster rap. I should say gangster rap, not rap. Gangster rap played a part.
I was in Clubhouse. And they were having a similar conversation. And a woman came on and she was like, yo, I'm not watching Raising Canaan. I'm not watching BMF. I'm not watching these shows because these shows push drug culture and it promotes this. And she went through like this whole thing or whatever. And a lot of times I don't speak on those apps or whatever, but I was like, yo, let me speak on this. I spoke on it and I said to her, I was like, I feel like sometimes we use entertainment and art to kind of shirk responsibility for some of the stuff that we as people are responsible for. We can't have it both ways. We can't say we want black creators. We want black creators, but then black creators give us black content and then we shun it because we like, this ain't the black content we want. Black content we want. It's got to be one or the other. Like, and my response to her was similar to what I said the other thing. Okay, you don't want it, you don't want to consume it, cool. You turn it off. But when you start looking at the Raising Canaans, the Powers, and there's all these different shows and everything, bro, there's a bigger problem if people are watching Power and going out and being like, yo, all right, I'm Ghost. I'm going to catch a body. I'm going to shoot people up. I'm going to do this and do that or whatever. Like, yo, life imitates art. I get that. And art imitates life. But we're the people in your life that supposed to help you separate reality from this stuff. Right. And then people often say also hold on. People often say, yo, it influences the children. Okay, so where's the parent that allows their kid that's 10 years old, 12 years old, or 13 years old to watch a Power or a BMF that's laden with sexual scenes, drug paraphernalia, violence, and all that or whatever? We bypass the whole fact that the parents be like, why 50 Cent made that? Desi.
You gotta figure too, like the three of us, whether we have family members or friends or close friends, we all know family members that had not a mother nor father. They had to raise themselves at the age of maybe less than 10, 8. You gotta look at Chicago, LA, different parts of New York, whatever, wherever the high crime rate is. So a lot of them kids, I'm speaking for a lot of them kids that don't have the mother or father. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have that proper guidance. So at the end of the day, they only going to go to what is tangible to them, whether it be the OG on the block, or to be the prostitute, or it be the gambling, or it be whatever, or just be or it be just gang violence. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, them people are very vulnerable to, or they adapt to their situation. I'm speaking for them, not for people that knows the difference between right and wrong, and they know that rap is, or gangster rap is just entertainment.
But that's my point exactly. Z, look what you said. You were like, yo, the OG on the block, the pimp, those are tangible people, real world people, not fictional characters, right?
Right.
So why are people not in an uproar when they go see how you call it, Michelangelo paintings, and people, all the people that's painted or their sculptures, the genitals are out? Why do we look at that and be like, "Whoa, this is a beautiful piece of art," instead of looking at it and be like, "Yo, this is filth. This is pornography." When we look at
how they accept it,
exactly, and that's what what I'm saying. Like,
they push it. Yeah. The powers that be push that agenda.
But we how you call it, like we have to put more accountability.
We're being taught how to accept it.
Accountability on the people, like the OG. We'll tell 50 Cent stop making these shows before we tell a parent, yo, why are you letting your kid watch this show? How's that right? Like, what? I haven't been able to wrap my head around that.
That's why, but see, that's the whole, like the whole dynamic switch from the 60s up until now, man. Just like back in the 60s, you had it where the parent, the mother and father, you had the mother and father sleep in separate beds back in the 60s when you watch shows sometimes. Then the 70s came, and then it was more of like, the disco era, the 80s, well, the disco era, you had the black family structure that was, doing well in the 60s and 70s, and 80s, of course, you had the crack epidemic and all that other stuff where families just broke apart. The 90s were actually the crack babies growing up, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's like, and then up until now, so it's like a whole melting pot of just it's like a gumbo of crazy shit, mid-grade stuff, and then you got like, with people on the right track. But at the end of the day, it's like, I guess that's what makes the world go round. You gotta have that yin and the yang, you gotta have that balance. But all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, we got to know what's right and wrong. All right, look at us. Like back in the, back when we was young, we was listening to gangster rap and all that other stuff. Knew the words right and exact, front to back, whatever word. But you might have a calculus class. You might have a calculus class or whatever, and be like, God damn, what the fuck is this shit? You know what I'm saying? Because that's the power of music. That's the power of music, bro. Music is a whole nother different, huh?
You also need those real images in front of you to let you know that it is just music.
Right.
You don't just go out there and
just pull it there.
Because someone's glorifying it, or even when you see it on your block. Let me tell you something. I lived a long time. Well, thank God I've lived a long time to know when crack came and when it left. And I was never entertained to touch any of it. Mm-hmm. But my peers, I got many peers who delve into it, who got arrested, who did time. Some of them ain't even here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I made a conscious decision at an early age. I'm not fucking with that shit.
Yeah.
I still listen to Cool G rap. I still listen to NWA. I was still listening to everything from the 70s all up until now. Mm-hmm. Thank God for KRS-One, to be honest with you, because after Criminal Minds and Scholar Rock died, that was it. He was like, "Yo, something's going on, son. Why we kill each other like
that?" So what do you think is the gravitation that us as black people have towards listening to rappers talk about drugs, prostitution, and
murder right outside our door?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think I don't think it's solely about prostitution, drugs, and murder. I think you know what I think black people in general. I think we're the biggest consumers in the world
Anything.
of anything and everything. We
just
consume.
yo.
So that's what that and I think what happens is that we can't advance because the lack of personal accountability. For some reason, we always find a way to find some other fault as to why somebody else should be responsible. So we have to be able to understand that what we're consuming, like we're consuming, whether it's music, whether it's film, whether it's art, whatever it is, we're constantly consuming and consuming these things, and then these things, rather than them be consumed for entertainment value, they later on find a way to be an excuse for why we did what we did or whatever it is. Like, can you imagine how many people are probably sitting in prison saying that, yo, had I wouldn't have grew up in LA listening to NWA, I probably wouldn't have been inclined to catch that body. Rather than saying, yo, had I would have never been on the street with a gun or doing whatever it is, I wouldn't have caught the
hung around the right people. Yeah,
we talk about agenda. We talk about agenda. That's an agenda, honestly, that we're pushing. We push an agenda of removing us of responsibility and accountability and placing it on shit like Hollywood, the record labels, and this, that, or whatever. For so many years, I've heard about this meeting that took place, how you call it, like you said, on the West Coast, and they were saying that we're gonna push or promote gangster rap. And for all I know, it probably did occur. We don't know, it probably did. But at the end of the day, with the promotion of all that, there's so many other things that are promoted and we come in contact with, and it's inevitable that we're gonna come into contact with these things. If we're gonna make a change, I think as people, we have to be able to discern, right? We got to be there has to be discernment around, like, all right, this is entertainment. This is for shock value.
Break this shit up.
This is for me to consume. This is this, that.
Well, what I'm saying, you have young kids, and whether male, female, whatever, they don't understand. They can't decipher that.
Well,
that's
Zain,
what I'm saying.
Zain,
and when they grow up, and it gets even worse.
Follow me with this, where I'm going with this logic, right? Because what I just said in terms of the accountability is what you just offered up is usually what people's responses to it when the kids, play the video games or whatever, they do this, do that, or whatever. So you had kids going to a school and they shoot up a school and they say, oh, that's because of Call of Duty, or that's because of this, or that's because of that, or whatever. Dude, the biggest consumers of video games are not even kids. It's not even kids. And we, at no point in time do we ask, where was the intervention from the parent, the older brother, did this person, this, that, or whatever. We automatically go to, well, they kids and they consume this. Okay, so they're kids and they consume this. You allow them as the parent to consume it? You allow them as the big brother, the whoever it is, the guardian, to consume it? We bypass that whole step and just go to whatever the action is.
Family structure on
They have that stuff right on the video game, whether the kid is buying it, but most likely it's the parent. So like you said, if the parent is buying that and it says advisory, blah, 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 and they still getting it for their kid, especially like some shooting game and shit like that, then yeah,
I'm talking about
that is likely to happen.
The video game market in general, if you do the research and you look at the numbers, the biggest market for people who play video games is probably people 25, 26 and over. Like, adults play more video games, honestly, than kids.
It depends on what video game it is, though. You're not gonna have adults playing,
I'm talking about just overall. If you think about it, far more adults play video. Why do you think it's dudes sitting on the sofa all day playing how you call it, 2K, Madden, Call of Duty, whatever it is? That's just it. It's just far more adults playing video games than kids. So again, I don't
know about that. I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
I will put my love one on blast, but there's a game and it's crazy that my wife been playing for like 6 years. She's still on it from when I lived in Maryland, and it's a game that has a community in it, and it's a bunch of women and maybe some guys in there, and they're building this city, and they make eggs.
What's the name of the game?
I don't have it on me right now, but you build these cities, but you gotta earn certain points and certain. It's crazy, but I'm like, hold on, you've been playing that game since 2015 when we were Skyping, and I was in Maryland, you was in Connecticut. So you talk about consuming or consumption of games. A child doesn't have the wherewithal to play a game for 6 years. They done moved on to something different. So that's the point that Shah's making. Adults, because we have the ability to buy games, we manage our own time, we can sit there all day and play games. Adults consume a lot of damn games.
2021, I'm looking at a 2021 survey. 38% of video game players come over the age of 18 to 34. 7% are even over 65 years of age.
Right. So that means that's what 40. That's 45% of people that's over what you said 16 to 18.
You know what? Here's the actual.
So
numbers
the rest of the kids. It's a higher percent of the kids.
No. Here's the actual numbers, right? Here's the actual breakdown. Under 18 years old, 20%. That means the other 80%. The other 80%.
Get out of here.
The other 80. Zane, I don't know why you can't see
Are
this.
you serious?
What video?
No, I always thought kids played the game console more than.
That's the idea.
That's crazy, yo. Are you serious?
18 to 34, 38%, 35 to 44, 14%, 45 to 54, 12%, 55 to 64, 9%, 65 plus, 7 years old. Video games are not
fucking crazy
anymore.
Wow.
But again, we use the video game thing as an example, just to bring it back around again. Like, so we talking about the video games. We go through all this stuff, but we never actually hold people accountable. Never. We never gonna make somebody own their shit. We just always gonna be like, yo, you was listening to Coogee Rap album when you shot up that club, wasn't you?
Now you on the road to the riches, huh?
All right. So what normally happens when people doing a drive by about to run down somebody? They ain't listening to no goddamn church music. They listening to you know what I'm saying? They get in their element.
So what? When people work out, they listen to music. When people have sex, they listen to music. What's the point?
Right, because it puts you in the mood. That's what it puts you in a certain chamber. It puts you in a mood. So you're not gonna listen to you ain't gonna listen to no soft music when you about to do something crazy out there in the streets.
That's why,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm so happy that y'all back.
Society.
Yo, I'm so happy that y'all back because I'm like, yo, Z think it's a soundtrack for a drive-by. Yo,
hey, look. The main movies that we thought were good, whether Minister Society, Boys in the Hood, all that other stuff. They normally playing music when they about to do what they do, right? They playing a certain type of music when they do what they about to do.
Yo, you do realize
that's entertainment, though, right? That's entertainment, but these kids don't know, man. Them kids don't know.
Oh man!
All right, man. Let's switch, man. We've been on this subject too damn long, yo. Let's talk about the Michael Jordan dude, Jordan brand dude.
Yo, hold up! I want to put on my drive-by mixtape. Oh man,
crazy.
Yo, drive-by mixes. Yo, but Eminem did make an album called Music to Get Murdered To, right? Or something like that?
I didn't know that. I know Joe Budden put out what? Mood music. Mobb Deep did murder music. And
yo, hold up. That's Randy? Yo, put my drive-by cassette in. I'm about to murk this dude.
We put on.
Yo, all right. Jordan Brand executive killed a man as a teen and is now talking about it. Did you guys see this story? So apparently his daughter encouraged him to write a book. And with her encouraging him to write a book, which I think is admirable, prior to the book actually hitting the shelves, he's disclosed this information because it's going to be in a book. And I think he said he had a conversation with Michael Jordan, a lot of his closest friends. And I read a story where he said that he went to see Bill Clinton and he had to get vetted before he could see Bill Clinton. And he was stressing that the background check was going to come back, right? And he ended up passing the background check. What do you guys think of this story?
There's a lot to this story, man. I'm talking about what we just talked about, being large influences. Gangs are a large influence when you don't have someone at home or a mentor or an adult who's watching your every move or checking up to make
Mhm.
sure what you're doing. So
Tangible people.
at 16 years old, where did he get the gun from in 1965
Yeah.
to retaliate in vengeance because his buddy just got murdered on some nonsense and he just wanted to pay somebody back? But I
Yeah.
tell you this about keeping your goddamn mouth shut. This man and his family kept that to themselves, and he just made the best of his life, man. And
Yeah.
that was the biggest lesson I got. That don't be ashamed of the things you've done in life. That doesn't end your life. You still have
Mhm.
life to live.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's lived with regrets for taking someone's life
Mhm.
who didn't deserve it, but at the same time, you still have to move on. You hold yourself accountable. You went to jail, and now he can be an inspiration for those who come home with the stigma because they got a felony, they can't get a job, they can't get
Yeah.
a with their life. This man has been working for some high execs
Yeah.
for the last 20 something years. You
Yeah.
know,
Was he?
Wonderful grad.
He was the executive at for the Trailblazers too, right?
for 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, what led you there? Just being a Nike representative? So what were you doing at Nike? So prior to him even going to jail, he must have been a bright kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They took an emotion. Here we go with emotion. You never make decisions with emotions. Emotion of his friend dying, and then he go kill somebody totally innocent. Ain't got nothing to do with nothing.
Yeah, to me, like his story is just like I'm always down to hear a story on redemption and resilience. Like, like I'm sure every day he does live with regret, but the fact that he was able to make this out of his life after having a predicament like that is, to me, is like it is. It's a wonderful story. Like his story is almost like worthy of like a movie to show people that you can have these things that come up in your life early on when you're a child, and there is potential to turn your life around. Because I know some people, find themselves in a position where things like this happen, and they never get up off the mat as a result of it.
Now they don't, but then there are some who come from jail and they become large contributors to society, man.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
turn their life around, they turn other people's lives around too. So
yeah,
those people need to be celebrated. But this in particular, this brother got a degree in accounting, and he must have knew corporate America's like, I got my niche. I know how to
hmm
do this motherfucker. Because his resume is crazy.
Now his purpose is going to be he owes it, because he's been blessed, I think, with so much and such a wonderful second chance. He has to go out to me and hit the road and speak to these kids about the pitfalls of getting involved with gangs and things like that. Guys,
Great story, man. And I'll tell you too, shit, if I was him, I would have told it 30 something years later too. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, because but at the end of the day, man, the dude is highly educated. Like you said, Shy, he turned his life around. And that goes to say that no matter what peaks and valleys or pitfalls, especially when you get incarcerated for X amount of years. I think he was in for 14 years, from 16 to 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in for 14 years, man. So for him to come out and then still like persevere through that, because I know that is something that shows a lot of people, whether they're adults or little kids, that you know you can make it. You can make it. Don't just go off the last. So it's always the next day. It's always the next day. It's always another decision that you can make that's better than the last. You know what I'm
What
saying?
Jay Prince said, when you wake up in the morning, you got two things: a chance and a choice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, the weight of the world had to feel like it was lifted off his shoulders, being able to just
Let
share
that
that.
out.
Imagine carrying that around, and you in rooms, and in rooms you
How
listen to people
homeboy?
talk about.
Like, how old is he now?
He's an older gentleman. He's an older gentleman. But
Yeah.
imagine being in rooms and you listen to people talk about incarceration and crime and things like that, and you got to sit there
Somebody coming to work and say my nephew got shot.
yeah, like there's so that I think it definitely, like, to me, it definitely demonstrates resilience, redemption, and another opportunity for him, and showing that he was able to turn his life around and do something great. And I wonder when his book comes out, and with him sharing the story, I wonder what the victim's family position is going to be on it. Like, what are they going to have to say as it relates to it?
That's a good point. That's
he's
a good
not
point
telling,
right there.
he's not only telling that story, he's telling his whole story of his life.
Yeah.
So, you know, I could see if I was the victim's family, I would be pissed off if the sole story was that. I'd be like, so now you about to capitalize off of something like this. That would be upsetting to me. But I don't, you never know. Like the victim's family may not even know him. And now this may have brought a whole nother level of awareness. Like, oh, so this is the guy who, killed such and such or whatever. Right. It's just a story that I'm definitely into. I want to follow.
To Jordan. I think he spoke to Adam Silver.
Mm-hmm.
Spoke to some people, man.
Yeah.
He spoke to some real notable people to let you look, this is who I am. Don't want you to be alarmed by it. Mm-hmm. You see, my resume speaks for itself, so you know I'm not a knucklehead.
Yeah.
I'm a bad choice. And I paid my debt.
I'm gonna tell you, man, that's easier to do after you get the job and you got 30 years of relationship than coming first out.
Ain't gonna just take you to the curb now.
Yeah, that's a lot easier to do. So we gotta follow this story and see what comes of this, because I don't know. I mean, like I said, I just think it's fascinating. I want to see what happens with it.
I can't wait till the documentary come out. Shit.
Yeah. Yo, this is you guys, both of your first time participating in this new segment that I started in your absence. Give me 5 for this.
Wait, Rob.
5. Hey, Zain already passed over this particular. Give me 5. I want to know your 5 concert headliners and why. 5 concert headliners and why.
All right, my first 2. I'm gonna combine these 2. Maxwell and Jill Scott.
Okay, Maxwell.
One, both of them. We talked about it with Chris. When it comes to crowd participation, they have a party when they perform. I love a Maxwell concert because when I grew up, I used to kind of be a dancer, and this dude, between him singing and his showmanship, and both of them always have a nice band that plays with.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Knows the music, knows the tempo, the whole joint, man. I love going to it. If anybody's listening, which I'm sure you are, go to a Maxwell or a Jill Scott, and trust me, you will never forget about it.
Yeah.
Other 2, of course, Michael Jackson. I threw that in there just because I watched.
Wait. No, I thought we doing non-living too.
It could be posthumously. I didn't do.
Okay.
I only did living people though. I only did living people for that reason.
Okay.
I mean, I just headliners.
Okay.
Yeah. I got
you.
MJ, as far as headliner, man, is
greatest of all time, bro.
Played the whole planet. I mean, we can go into Bon Jovi and Rolling Stones and all of that, but I think MJ for me, and me being a fan and being influenced by MJ as a kid, like I told you, I used to love dancing, and that's the shit that used to keep me in shape before I went and play ball. I go to a party the night before and get my workout in, and then go to the game the next day. The Bad tour, the Dangerous tour, those are 2 great tours that I didn't get a chance to go, but the magnitude of what that did to the planet at that time, I was in his prime, was crazy.
2 more, Rob.
I'm gonna say Big Daddy Kane. I went to a Big Daddy Kane show at Rams Head in Baltimore, and I lie to you not, I sung every fucking song.
I've been there before, Rams Head live.
Did you sing Enough Respect?
Huh?
Did you sing Enough Respect?
Yo, son, after a while, you just he had the whole Rams Head, like it was like Beach Street in that motherfucker.
Damn.
He had niggas, had everyone in there sweating. People were jumping, man. So that's Kane, and then I think all I got is 4. Really.
4?
That's 4.
All right, we come back to you for your 5th.
Let me think about the 5th.
Your 5th. Come on, Z. Give me your 5.
All right, no particular order. I'll say Drake first. Drake revolutionized the game as far as how streaming is done, how the combination of hip hop and R&B is supposed to be done. The little lullabies and all that good stuff. Okay. I would say Kanye West, because he's a pioneer, shaped the game in fashion, media presence, whether he's calling paparazzi on himself or not. And I'll also say, as far as music wise, like he's evenly balanced as far as lyricism and also with the beats. That's two, right? Three, I would say I'll say Jay-Z. Jay-Z definitely changed the game also, man. Ever since 1996 with his official first album, Reasonable Doubt, up until now. This dude has his hands in everything as far, his business acumen is through the roof. He got the, I guess the most talked about celeb, which is Beyonce as his wife. That's three. I would say The Weeknd. The Weeknd, he transitioned the past 10, maybe 11 years. This dude is incredible, man. You know what I'm saying? That's one of my favorite artists, though, man. Like the dude, like people compare him. People say he's like a mixture of like Prince and Michael Jackson in one, as far as the music or whatever.
Okay,
that's four, right?
I like him on the Kanye song. I like him on Kanye.
Yeah. So that's four.
That's four.
And I would have to say, damn, man, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yo, so
them dudes got so many damn like. People were made off Earth, Wind, and Fire music.
Yo, so
you know what I'm saying? The catalog is crazy.
I'm gonna give you my five. Two people that Zain said I got listed as mine, and I realized when I was putting my five together, the five that I picked was five people that I've never had an opportunity to see in concert. So that's why it appeals to me. So I did pick Earth, Wind, and Fire, and I picked Earth, Wind, and Fire just because of the musicianship. Like there's something about Earth, Wind, and Fire that just to me it's poetry. It's beautiful. Like Earth, Wind, and Fire is like one of the all-time great bands that anywhere, any room.
Yeah,
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Kanye was the other person I picked, and I picked Kanye because I feel like with Kanye, I know I'm gonna get big production out of Kanye. Big production like Kanye. I remember when Kanye and Jay-Z was doing the Watch the Throne tour. Kanye and Jay-Z had a dust up and a fallout around it because Jay-Z was like, why do we need all this production? But you look at the stuff that Kanye does, like he building his childhood house for the set. He's ascending to the heavens. He's setting himself on fire. And he just that. As crazy as it may seem, you're gonna get a show. It's gonna be a big production out of it. I picked Stevie Wonder because Stevie Wonder is like one of my all-time favorite artists ever. And I picked Stevie Wonder also because to me, Stevie Wonder is a one-man band. Like this dude does everything from writing to singing, playing all kind of instruments. Stevie Wonder to me is a genius. The next I picked probably because I've been watching a lot on TV and I've always appreciated their catalog, and it just dawned on me. I'm like, damn, I never had an opportunity to see Wu-Tang all together in concert. I've never seen.
That'd be free. That'd be free right there, bro.
In concert, have y'all ever had an opportunity to experience Wu-Tang in concert?
Nah, not
only Method Man. Just Method Man.
Method Man.
And Raekwon.
I saw Method Man. I don't remember if I saw Raekwon. I saw Method Man, but I would love to see Wu-Tang all together. The catalog is just so deep, so much music, so much history. Like watching that Wu-Tang American saga has been nostalgic for me. Like going back and man, I remember all these tunes.
And I'm glad you said that would be my fifth. I've never got an opportunity to watch them. I'm a big fan of American Saga. Just knowing kind of in the back of my mind, listening to Wu, you kind of already know the story, but kind of see it played out. Kind of gives you a fresh look at how they really got together, like the beef with Raekwon and Ghost. I heard that story 1,000 times. Like they were really trying to take each other's heads off, man.
That's how you could tell it's a great show because we all know the ending, but we all still tuned in watching.
Yes.
And then my fifth, I went with just on the strength of just because who wouldn't want it? Beyonce.
I thought about her. I definitely.
I'd rather see Rihanna, man. I like Beyonce stuff, but Rihanna, man.
I think Rihanna would be good if you gave me a choice and told me you could.
No, Don't get me wrong, that's a good choice. I'm just saying. Yeah.
I would probably pick Beyonce. Like I just think Beyonce is another person that there are certain people you go to a show and it's an experience. Like and I feel like the people that I put on my list.
Janet Jackson or Madonna.
I thought about Janet Jackson too. But
you should have did 10, yo.
The people I put on my list is all people that I've never had opportunity to go to a concert of, and I just thought I'm like, yo, just the experience of these people and what their contribution from a musical standpoint.
Yeah.
You know, like when you start talking about a dude like Kanye, like you said, Zayn, like you know, fashion, the over the top antics, the theatrics of it, like you know you're gonna get a show. Now some of the records you may not like, but you know the dude gonna give you a show, and then you start in Fire or how you call it, a Beyonce, you know, like that's Stevie Wonder. Like these are people that are quality musicians that's actually gonna get out there and give you your worth.
Yeah,
you're gonna be Weeknd fans one day. Man.
I don't know. You know what? I don't. My thing on it is like, yo, the comparisons. I don't know why you start me on this. The comparisons between Jackson and Prince. Like to me,
Rob, I reeled them in.
Michael Jackson and Prince to me is like, yo, Prince is a musical genius.
Son.
Prince is a musical
genius.
His book.
Like, Prince. I got his book the other day.
Yo, his pen.
How is it?
His ability.
I ain't reading it.
Play instruments, his ability to sing, his ability. Yo, Prince, musical genius. Michael Jackson, arguably probably the greatest performer of our time, the greatest entertainer of our time. And then The Weeknd. Like to me, I just need more of a body of work of The Weeknd to say, like, all right, that he's on the level of these dudes. Like, and I'm not taking nothing away from him because he had his core audience, his diehard fans, and he's doing something right because people do like him. But to mention him in the name of those dudes, I'm not there yet. I'll mention him. Like I got Trey Songz right here, and I got him like slightly above right now based on popularity. Yo, about Trey Songz.
All right, so all right, you know what? If I had to have a 6, I would pick. It's a tie, man. Chris Brown or Usher. It's a tie.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
that'd be great. Yo, so I forgot to shout out to Jeff Kwan, BTP Media. Bless me with the shirt. Good dude, Jeff. For those who haven't had a chance to follow BTP Media, follow BTP Media. A lot of the guests that we get, Jeff. I've been working with Jeff, and Jeff has helped us on the back end to secure some of the many guests that we've been fortunate enough to bring on.
Jeff.
He blessed me with a shirt. You know, I appreciate him. Good brother. Me and him have had phone conversations. He's a hip hop historian from the West Coast also. Just doing great things and really loves the music. So, this has been episode 100, man. I'm happy to have you brothers back. The banter, the debate.
Glad to be back, man.
Yo,
this business, man.
Yo, we could have did a whole show talking about how you call it, the drive-by mixtape.
Yeah, I wanna take this time honestly to thank you guys for holding me down. Thank you for all the viewers who knew what I was going through, having my kidney. That transition has happened. I'm a healthy guy, got my color back, feeling good. Everything is working out, man. So I appreciate all the prayers.
You glowing over there, Rob. You glowing, man.
Rob, we gotta get you on the Peloton. We gotta get you on the Peloton now. You clear?
Yeah, I need the Peloton. My wind up, brother. Need that stuff. My wind is a little short right now. I can't do no cane rides.
Yo,
hey, all you need is some Irby Scurby.
That's it, bro. Let me tell you something, but God is good. I think every prayer, every positive word, every positive energy thrown at me, it worked, man. And I'm very grateful to Yale University, all them doctors, all the nephrologists. I'm grateful to DeVita for taking care of me for 4.5 years and keeping me alive on that machine. And I'm also grateful to Mr. Brian. That's the individual that lost his life so I can have life. To his family, you guys, him being a donor. And trust me, man, it's all right to be a donor, man. You're not promised tomorrow, but somebody might need that organ, bro, for real, man. You think about being a donor. So I appreciate you all.
Salute. Peace, everybody. That's been episode 100. Thank you for tuning
Well,
in.
100. Let's get 100 more, son.
Catch you on the next